about this. I do want to mute the sound just to be on the safe side in case anything wrong happens with the exporting and everything. But anyway, we're going to be getting started with the guide as promised. And basically, we're going to be covering Blackheart since I play him a lot on ranked. Right now, my ranking is at third. It might not be anymore if anyone else decided to catch up to where I'm at the moment. I am working on trying to earn diamond. Grandmaster might be a little bit out of the question, but we'll see how it goes. But mostly for the most part, I do want to try to play every now and then on rank just to see how far I can get. Sadly, I'm not a high level pro player, unfortunately, but as you could, if someone like me is able to somehow hold his own ground, his or her own ground against some of the better players, then that's got to be a testament to something. Anyway, we're going to be covering Blackheart as for this guide. Blackheart is more or less of a zoner, and that's because aside from his projectiles, Dark Thunder, and Inferno, he also has the ability to do demons from either his heavy punch and heavy kick, as you can see right here. And they cover pretty much a pretty decent ground. So basically, Blackheart's probably the only character that has very unique heavy punches and kicks. So he can't do his combos like everyone else where they can end it on heavy punch or kick for the most part. In fact, most of his damage is going to come from his light and mids for the most part. And his specials, of course, are pretty tricky because just like most of the projectiles from the earlier Marvel vs. Capcom games, they basically alter based on punch strength, so you can't just like throw one projectile the same way you would do in a Street Fighter game. It functions much differently in the Marvel games, like this. So basically, your Fierce Punch does that and all that. So anyway, we're going to be covering several topics. Once I get done getting done with this guide, I will try to timestamp each part I'll be discussing. I should probably warn you this is not scripted, by the way, so if I screw up, my apologies, but if you understand what I'm trying to do on screen for the most part, then you got a good idea what I'm trying to describe. So my apologies ahead of time. And my apologies for not answering chat if anyone stops by. I also muted alerts so that we don't have any issues. So we're going to go ahead and get covering right now. So to begin things off with Blackheart, we're going to be covering his movement. So for walking movement, Blackheart is not very fast. Pretty much faster characters like Spider-Man, Psylocke, and Wolverine can easily get up to him pretty quickly. And he has very little means of stopping their advancements on dashing. Well, I shouldn't say that. He does have means to stop the dashing, but he's pretty much a big target. So as you can tell from these hitboxes, he's pretty much going to get pretty much attacked all over the place, just like Juggernaut and everyone else. He does have problems fighting Juggernaut and, in some cases, Magneto. It really depends on your playing experience against those characters, either against computer AI or against human opponents. So he actually ranks pretty high from the official tier list in regards to where he ranks. He and Super Groth and Captain America ranked A the last time I took a look at it. Among other things, I recommend checking the internet for that tier list, because I'm not going to be covering that. But anyway, Blackheart's not very fast on his feet, and he pretty much moves the same way when he jumps. His jump speed is pretty much the same, but he does pretty decent. So when you duck, he'll be like this. His hitbox will be lower. That could be very useful if you're trying to avoid getting hit by aerial attacks or avoid projectiles, but he is still a very tall character to get targeted for the most part. So anyway, for jumping, this is he does have very good jump speed for the most part, not floaty and everything, but doesn't jump very high for the most part. So this is a super jump, of course. I am using all three kick buttons on one of my assign buttons. I do have to be careful though. Sometimes this will trigger the heavy kick version of the attack. As you can definitely tell, he has very little control of his momentum when he goes into the air. And you do have to be careful when you commit to super jumping with Blackheart, because you have very little control of holding back. So if you need to move back, he's not going to have very high move back speed unlike most characters. He has no problem moving forward, all things considering. So in regards to dash, Blackheart has some pretty interesting dashing mechanics. Ironically, his more go-to one is going to be the air dash, as you see right here. And you can basically, that's going to be his main form of pursuit attacks. In fact, he's going to probably be in the air most of the time. So with air dash, that's going to be your main form of confronting your opponents. You can do air dash on your descent, but eventually you will have to make the move before your character touches the ground. So Blackheart has a very interesting dash. He cannot do combos from dash. So I am going to do tap tap. And this doesn't look impressive, but you can definitely tell when he does this, it appears like he's basically teleporting, but he's actually moving. So if you notice that black ink that he turns into, that's actually Blackheart, and he can still get hit or grabbed during that dash. So if you hold the second button, he'll do a far range dash. That also applies to the back dash as well. So sometimes you can basically get behind the opponent. Let me get him out of here. And you can get behind them sometimes, but not all the time. And of course, this dashing is not very useful in versus mode. You can use it to escape your opponents like that if they go for a super jump. And of course, that doesn't always work most of the time. But it does have a few usages, but just be very careful when you do the ground dash for the most part. But technically, when you're using Blackheart, you want to be doing the air dashing. And that's going to be his form of offense and defense play for the most part when you're using him. Alright, so now we covered dashing and movement and jumping. We're going to go over the norms for the characters. So Blackheart, like I said before, his heavy punch and kick govern the demons. We'll cover those eventually, but your meat and potatoes for most of Blackheart's attacks is going to be his light and medium punch and kicks. So we'll cover the punches first. So this is Blackheart's light punch, a simple throat jab-like move, which is what he does right here. So it's pretty interesting when you're playing as Blackheart. Most of the time, his damage actually affects. Sometimes you'll deal more damage up close. Then there's sometimes where he'll deal less damage. Sometimes the damage is very random when you at specific ranges and dealing more damage. But technically, this is basically his best attack for the most part. He can stop dashing with this. In fact, his hitbox also extends to his left knee as well. So if the opponent's like right next to him, like right here, you can basically just hit him like this. Now this is his crouching light punch, a small poke. Technically, I'd rather use the light kick one, but the only use I would use for this is this, which is crouching light to medium punch standing. And that'll set you up for a launcher right then and there. So this is basically Blackheart's jumping light. This basically is what you're going to be using most of the time when if enemies go in the air and you're in the air with them. This could be used to combo a few times. Let's get this Blackheart back over here. We're going to launch him. Okay, that didn't go. There we go. That's how you do it. Now, sometimes you can perform an air throw when you do one or two punches. It really depends on the character you're fighting against as Blackheart. But technically, when you want to be in the air, most of the time you want to be doing this to intercept any jump-ins. So if you're in the air against opponents, just use this. But technically, jumping and standing light punches are very good for Blackheart's offense. I don't usually recommend the crouching one, unless the enemy's too close. So now that we covered the light punches, we're going to cover the medium punch. So this is basically Blackheart's launcher to set up air combos, which you'll do right here. But it does leave Blackheart somewhat open. This can you can cancel it into either the Inferno or Dark Thunder, depending on which way you want to do it. Of course, you have to be very fast with the inputs. So it can be canceled into any of these, and it's also very infamous for doing this. Well, that didn't go the way I wanted to. But technically, most of the time, you want to be chained this most of the time right off the gate. And that sets up that Armageddon. You can also do this with Heart of Darkness as well. But it's pretty easy to miss. So you might want to give your enemies some leeway before trying that. But Heart of Darkness does have means to trigger on its own and get an appropriate setup for it. So when you do Blackheart's Crouching Medium, he'll do this, where he creates a vortex of dark energy. This is basically where the hitbox is. And believe it or not, I've had 2 matches where an opponent was behind my character. He does have a hitbox activated when he performs the attack, so if they get behind Blackheart and he does this, they'll get hit by it, regardless if they're in front of it or not. So if they're behind them and you do this, that'll keep you safe from anyone trying to hit you or grab you from behind. So that works too. But technically, the only time you'll want to use that is do this. But yeah, this is more of a strike move, so this can be used to push opponents away from you most of the time. So consider that more or less of a strike move, but it's not a very useful move overall unless you're kind of desperate for the most part, but I would strongly not recommend using it. For jumping, this is what he does. He'll do this lightning attack, and he'll move back a bit, and the range of it depends on your distance. And it definitely has a huge range for the most part. Now, one added feature, as you'll see from the special meter, it does drain some of it, the opponent's special meter. Now, any lightning attack that Blackheart does, it's going to cause the opponent to lose special meter. So if you do Lightning Inferno, Dark Thunder, or Jumping Medium punch, you'll deplete some of the opponent's special. And that's kind of critical if you don't want to deal with opponents that go very heavy on specials. So basically, this benefits very well if you want to keep yourself safe. But yeah, this could be easily comboed from medium kick or light kick most of the time. And you can definitely set it up for a very good attack and set up an air combo if you're lucky. But if they block your follow-up for the launcher, you can go either to Inferno or Dark Thunder for safety. Anyway, so that covers the medium punch. So now we're going into the heavy punches. So this is Blackheart's heavy punch. He'll throw out some demons out of his chest, and if any of them connect, as you'll see right here, as long as you don't press any punch buttons or attack buttons, they'll feed off the opponent and drain off some of that HP. So at close range, you can deal up to 6 hits, assuming they're tall like Blackheart right here. But one interesting thing right here is that when you do this, you can actually alter the direction of these demons from standing fierce. So right here, I was able to hold up, and they went up a little bit further. Now, if I hold down while I do this, the demons go to the go lower. So you can basically use that to your advantage to hit the opponents from below or above, just to be on the safe side. And basically, as long as you don't hit any punch buttons, you can basically capitalize on depleting a good chunk of the opponent's health. You probably won't see that happen a whole lot in versus matches, but it definitely works for that mechanic. But I would strongly recommend not using close range heavy punch unless you've got your opponents cornered or from a launch. Anyway, now that we covered the standing heavy punch, this is Blackheart's heavy punch. And basically what he does from here, he'll punch up the ground, throwing up all those demons. And this actually almost goes all the way to the screen. So even if you're at this far corner, you can basically still hit the opponent. If they don't block it, they're going to get hit by those demons and lose a bit of their health. So when you're up close, it's not very calmable, but if they get hit by all of them, all those demons will deplete the health pretty quickly. For the most part. So it definitely has a few advantages. You can stop safe fallers as well as any dashers. For the most part, you can definitely use that to your advantage with this move. Of course, it's very tricky to do that because it's pretty easy to see it coming and they'll jump out of the way. Jumping heavy punch is pretty much the one you're going to see most often in versus matchups when you're playing against people playing with Blackheart. So believe it or not, when you do heavy punch, you'll basically throw out 3 demons. So if they all land, they'll drain the health like normal. And basically when you perform this, you can basically get those demons to form a barrier around you when you do that. And of course, when you throw them out, depends the trajectory where they get thrown. They can also be used not only for offense, but they can also be used for defense-wise. They do have the ability to nullify single hitting projectiles like Spider-Man's Spider-Ball, Psylocke's Flash, Captain America's Shield Slash, anything that requires a one-hit projectile. Now, it does not stop beam projectiles. Of course, I'm talking about multi-beams. It does nullify Magneto's EMP Disruptor. Nullifies the hit for the most part, but it won't stop multiple hitting beams. Like Dr. Doom's Plasma Beam or Iron Man's Unibeam. Those will still go through those demons. Now, when you do this up close, you can set up crossover with the Fierce Demons. Of course, the range depends on the character you're facing against. You probably won't see that most of the time with Blackheart. There's not a whole lot of people that play Blackheart online, or at least from what I've seen. But you could use it as a means to protect yourself from enemies jumping at you. You can also do this in Super Jump. So if they try to go for a pursuit, you can set up these demons, and if they try to go on the attack, they will get hit by them and don't deal a whole lot of damage. They only deal like 1 to 2 sometimes, but you want to be capitalizing on the extra damage debuff that they get hit with when the demons connect. So anyway, that covers the heavy punch and all the punches. So now we're going to be covering the kicks. We'll start off with light kick. Light kick is pretty much what I use most of the time when I'm going up against start off a match. This could be mashed up to 2 times, and if they decide to block, you can use this to force them to block all day long. Of course, that won't be always the case if they decide to jump out of there. But anyway, this comes out very fast, and just like light punch, this can also be used to stop potential dashers. This is also a very safe poke for Blackheart to use against opponents most of the time, since he can hit ground opponents. I mean, smaller characters like Wolverine and Spider-Man. This can also be used to stop dashing, like I said earlier. Definitely has plenty of uses. So this is basically almost identical to the standing, but crouching. This is my preferred attack for the most part. And just like the light punch, you can use that to set up the launcher easily. So if you land a hit on them, you can do this and set up the launcher and get your air combo and whatnot. And this is Blackheart's light kick jump attack. It's not very impressive. They actually improved it in later Marvel vs. Capcom games like Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, where it's more swinging horizontal rather than going down. But believe it or not, this is actually your cross-up tool with Blackheart when you're using him. So if you know your mix-ups and cross-ups, you want to be using the light kick most of the time. And believe it or not, this is actually a very good protection tool when you're descending down near opponents. And if they try to come up to match you with super jumps around your character, you can use this to stop their attack and keep yourself safe sometimes. Doesn't always land for the most part, but you can use it to keep your character safe, and it's also good against potential dashers. But it's not a very offensive tool for the most part. You can also use that to set up for your medium punch or light punch from the jump as well. So now that we covered the light kick, now we're going to cover the medium kick next. Medium kick is probably my preferred attack, and you can definitely tell from his standing medium kick, this has pretty huge hitbox range. This can also be used to intercept jumpers, or anyone from super jumping. Of course, you might wind up trading hits with the enemy if they decide to retaliate with a faster jump attack. But this is pretty much Blackheart's anti-air normal, pretty much, for the most part, along with his launcher. And this is pretty much my go-to with this attack for the most part, because it just has pretty darn good range. It does let you hit a certain amount of distance, keeps your character safe, and does pretty much a good job of protecting your character from possible jumping attacks, including from super jumping. Crouching medium does pretty much the same thing. Does lower. It's pretty much the same thing as standing medium kick, but on ground. It could be also be done to set up the launcher as well. And it could also be comboed right off of into the heavy punch demons. Not all of them will hit, by the way. But technically, when you do that, you want to be using the standing launcher for the most part. So now we're going to cover the jumping medium kick. Medium kick jumping is pretty much your main offense when you go on the attack, as well as medium punch when you're descending from the jump. And it's also pretty much Blackheart's spike, pretty much. Once you get the combo going, that is. That's a small combo, by the way. So basically, when you end your air combos, you want to be using the medium kick most of the time. And this is pretty much, this overall has pretty good hitbox. So overall, this is pretty much my go-to jump attack most of the time. As long as they're not jumping, that is. For the most part. So you can definitely set it up for the standing medium kick can also be used to set up the launcher, as long as they don't block it. But technically, if you want to set up the launcher safely, you want to do it from a crouching attack like this. And that's pretty much Blackheart's medium kick. So the final kick that Blackheart has is the demons. So when you press heavy kick, you'll see extend his right leg or left leg, and he'll throw demons out when he slams it down. Now, there is a small hitbox with that leg. Normally, when you use fierce kick, it's mostly to hit enemies with the demons. But at close range, you can hit the opponent with this. And at the right range, if all of them connect, you'll get huge damage and immobilizes the opponent. The heavy kick demons immobilize the opponent as long as you don't do an attack like let me set that up. So in other words, when you do heavy kick again, you're going to erase the demons, and that causes them to be freed. So don't be spamming your standing kick, heavy kick most of the time. So there is a little trick with Blackheart's kick during the frames of the activation. Believe it or not, you can cancel the attack into another normal, namely the punch. So here, I'm able to cancel that from heavy kick to medium punch. This can also work with light punch, too. So if your opponent's too close and you decide to do this, cancel it into your punches. And you can pretty much force the opponent away as well while you're doing it. And on certain occasions, you can also mash super jump or your 3 kick buttons to basically cancel the kick animation, and you get this. Unfortunately, it's not very easy to do it from the standing, of course, but you can also do this into jumping heavy kick as well, either forward or backwards. Now, Blackheart's crouching heavy kick is pretty easy to recognize. Just like a Fierce Punch, you want to use it mostly to intercept anyone trying to pull off safe falls. So this will force them into blocking immediately out of it. But it does very hefty damage, as you can see on the screen. 25 is nothing to scoff at. But at the same time, it's very rare to set up the damage at all with this move. And most of them will just easily jump or super jump out of the way. The final attack from Heavy Kick is the jump. So when you perform this, he'll throw demons at a 45-degree angle. And you can basically do this. You can also use this as your primary air target. The demons really help fill up Blackheart's meter for the most part. And you could use this to protect yourself or go on the offensive. You do have to keep an eye on your descent. Because if you go for this and they see you do that, they'll punish you in turns. So you don't want to be using that all the time, but it definitely helps build the meter. But technically, you want to master basically just doing canceling your fierce heavy kick to lighter medium punches, and you can basically get a little bit more mileage. But yeah, most of the time I usually use the heavy kick for air attacks. And basically use it as a means to prevent my enemies from trying to go on the offensive most of the time. Force them into blocking and build up meter. But anyway, that covers all the kicks for Blackheart. So now that we've done that, we're going to cover the throws. Blackheart can basically use both medium and heavy punches and kicks to execute throws. They're one and the same regardless. So when you do toward or back toward with medium punch or medium kick, you'll get the Dark Thunder throw, which means he'll electrify the opponent before throwing them to the ground. You can do this with both medium kick and medium punch. Still the same animation one way or the other. Now, if you do it with heavy punch or heavy kick, this is what happens. He'll fill the opponent with dark souls into them before throwing them. Of course, it's not usually my go-to throw anymore because I usually prefer the mediums. You can also do this with the heavy kick as well. And this deals a little bit more damage than the medium throws. So Blackheart does have... whoa. Didn't mean to do that. How did that happen? Alright, there we go. This is what I want to show you. Blackheart does have an air throw. Let me see if I can get that again. There we go. So basically when you do heavy punch, medium punch, or heavy kick, medium kicks, when they're in the air, you can do the air throw. Now you can also do this during air combos if you're close enough to pull the move off. And basically it's a good tool for the most part. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, I was trying to do an air dash into the throw. Yeah, believe it or not, Blackheart has more easier time performing an air throw when the opponent performs jump and you go in the air dash. It's a lot more easier to get them into rage, but perform any of the medium heavy punches or medium heavy kicks and you'll trigger the air throw. So this is actually a pretty good distancing tool for the most part if you're lucky enough to pull it off during combos or whatever. And that covers pretty much all of Blackheart's known throws. So now that we've covered just about all the main topics for normals and throws, let's go ahead and cover his specials. Blackheart only has 2 specials. And of course, all of them are affected by punches. So basically, if you enjoy using punches, Blackheart's not going to be any problem. But the problem is that if you're used to doing quarter circle or quarter circle forward or back, you're going to probably find Blackheart not an easy character to do because all of them require either half quarter back or half quarter forward circle motions to trigger his moves. And of course, any of his punches' strength also affects the priority of where the move is going to go in general direction. So anyway, we're going to cover Dark Thunder first, which is half quarter forward. And basically when you perform Dark Thunder, one thing you'll notice is that it does deplete enemies' special when it hits and connects for the most part. And of course, depending on the punch, you'll get different versions. The one I did was just now was the lower version. This also acts as Blackheart's Infinity counter, and in my opinion, it's arguably the worst Infinity counter in the entire game. Because if most characters usually get plenty of invincibility frames during their moves, Blackheart has probably the worst Infinity counter. So unless you're going up against opponents that only have like one or a few hits overall, this is not exactly a very good move to counter aerial attacks or whatever. I really wish it was just the medium punch that was the Infinity counter rather than the light punch version. But anyway, this move deals either 19 to 18 damage for the most part when you're using the light version. Now we're going to do the medium punch, and that fires straight forward. Now the damage varies depending on the character that you hit with, so your damage might fluctuate depending on the character you hit. One thing to keep in mind about the Dark Thunder medium version is that this thing barely hits Spider-Man most of the time, but if you're playing against Wolverine, he doesn't need to block or duck. I have done that against him multiple times on versus matches, and Dark Thunder medium is he'll avoid that pretty easily. So this does make a very good, yeah, that didn't come out right. This makes a very good means to set up an attack raft or a launcher. So if you're not comfortable about performing the air combos, you can do this instead. Anyway, the final one is the heavy punch version. And this one fires a 45-degree angle. And it doesn't cover all the way to the top of the screen, but if they go for a jumping attack, you can intercept them, but they can pretty much recognize it. It's very hard to use that one in regards to offense capability, but you can use it up close. You can always hit that. So if you're close and you just accidentally do this, you can still hit them pretty much close range with the heavy punch version. But technically, the heavy punch version is used to intercept any enemies that are trying to jump at you. And in some cases, you can also do that against super jumpers, or when they come down from launch. But technically, I would use medium Dark Thunder most of the time. That's probably your safe one. If you're going up against Wolverine or Super Graph, if he goes for dashing low, you want to use the low light version. The heavy punch version is probably not going to see a whole lot of use, but you can still hit enemies up close with that move in general. Alright, so the next move, his final special move is the Inferno. The Inferno is pretty much a portal move that Blackheart will summon when he throws down into the ground. And believe it or not, you can actually affect the element that comes out after you perform the move. So even though I pressed Light Punch, normally when you press Light Punch, you only get the lightning. And what I did right there was that right after I confirmed the strength of the Inferno, I also hit the Heavy Punch, and that created the fire. And because I did that with Medium Punch, I got ice. So basically when you do Inferno, your default is lightning. The lightning one always drains a large amount of the enemy's special meter. Probably more so than Medium Punch or Dark Thunder pretty much can do. You can also alter the elemental properties. That was not what I meant to do. So instead of getting lightning, I got ice with medium. And when you press Heavy Punch, after performing the move, you get fire. Now, each of the Infernos is much more different in terms of damage and speed. Of course, when I mention speed, I'm mentioning pretty much the portal that opens up to perform the attack. So, probably out of all the Infernos, the Lightning Inferno is your highest damaging Inferno. As you can definitely tell, it did more damage than the other two. And you can definitely tell from the damage scaling, that did like anywhere between 6 to 7 to 8 damage with that Inferno. So Ice is kind of in the medium in between terms of power and speed. It's pretty fair and pretty decent to set up, but it doesn't deal as much damage as Lightning. Now, Fire, on the other hand, is the least damaging, but it comes out much faster than the other two Infernos. So, as you can tell right there, it did the least amount of damage in comparison to Ice and Lightning. And of course, you can also... the Fire one can also be used to trigger the... any of the Infernos can be used to hit enemies on the ground if they get hit with that move overall. And that's pretty much a pretty nice way. So, one more thing before we go on to supers. Your punch also affects the distance of where your Inferno goes. If you perform the light punch version, that comes right in front of Blackheart. That's a pretty nice way to punish safe fallers or anyone that decides to go on the pursuit of trying to go for super jumps at you, for the most part. And this is the medium punch version. This comes very short to near where the opponent is from this side of the screen. So basically, you could use that in case they try to get up and come right after you again, for the most part. And the heavy punch version locks onto your enemy's current location. And that's pretty much, most of the time you want to spam the Fire one, because that's actually more consistent for the most part. So if you want to spam Inferno all the time, you definitely want to get better at it. Because that's actually, the Inferno is actually one of Blackheart's more better specials as opposed to the Dark Thunder. And one more note. You can also combo Inferno into Harder Darkness. And that's pretty much all of Blackheart's special moves. Now we're going to cover the specials. Or I should say infinity moves, aka supers. They're basically supers. Blackheart only gets one infinity meter to work with, so he only gets one special super per use. And he has two special supers, those being Armageddon and Harder Darkness. My apologies, I need to rehydrate my throat. So anyway, I'm going to show you Armageddon first. So this is Armageddon. When you perform Armageddon, he drops all these meteors, and they come right next to him. So at first glance, Armageddon is not very impressive. So why the heck did Capcom decide to put out this move when you need to be very close? Well, believe it or not, you can actually make more meteors appear by mashing punch buttons. So I didn't use, I used one punch and I wound up getting less meteors. But when I did it with two, I wound up getting more out of that as opposed to just hitting one button. Now, believe it or not, the direction you're holding also affects the trajectory of your meteors. So technically, if you want your meteors to hit your opponent from this distance, you'll definitely want to hold forward or that specific direction to. But overall, Armageddon's pretty much your huge anti-air super. As you can see here, I got more hits when he got hit with the super. So basically, like I showed you earlier, you can definitely combo Armageddon from a standing medium. And as you can see, I got more damage and more hits out of that because I was mashing all the punch buttons together there. So yeah, with Armageddon, your goal is to either do it after a launch, and technically, not only do you have to hit punch buttons, but apparently you can get more hits when you hit kicks as well. So I'll show it one more time. Okay, that didn't go the way I wanted. So yeah, if you hit all of your punch buttons and kicks, you're going to get more meteors out of that than you would technically normally would not get. So yeah, I was able to get more hits out of that Armageddon because I was mashing punches and kicks all together with that move. Alright, let's get this guy back into position. Now that we covered Armageddon, we're going to cover Heart of Darkness. And this is actually his more stronger move. So basically, it's a super variant of Inferno, pretty much. And basically, when the opponent gets hit, he gets hit with a buttload of demons. And the amount of hits depends on, it'll land depending on the character you're facing and where the portal appears. So if they're like at the very far end of the screen, which I'll show you right here once we get in position. Now, when we were up close, we were able to get more hits off of that. But at the edge of the screen, though, we didn't get as much. So basically, your opponent's position versus your activation depends on just how many hits you're going to land with Heart of Darkness. And that deals way loads more damage. But once you figure out Armageddon's secret, that becomes probably a less useful combo for the most part. And thanks to Heart of Darkness, this can also, like the Inferno, you can also set up, you can also do this as an OTG attack as well. Now, you do have to wait until the opponent starts coming down to trigger the Heart of Darkness. Otherwise, it won't, it'll miss or they'll quickly block it just in time. Now, you can, now it is possible to hit them when they start getting up in versus matches. I've seen that happen a few times. But technically, that's just all there is to Heart of Darkness. It definitely equals up to being the huge damage dealer it is out of the two super moves. But once you start learning how to get better with using Armageddon, that becomes rather moot super. But it definitely has, both supers have their usages. The problem is that Blackheart only has like one meter to work with. He has to rebuild it if he wants to do another one again. Same goes with the Infinity Counter. Now, for miscellaneous, one thing you want to keep in mind is that you do not want to be abusing your supers most of the time. Armageddon should definitely be used as your anti-air choice, so if they try to super jump and try to go over you, you definitely want to punch them with Armageddon. And you can also use Armageddon as a means to deal a lot of chip damage. Heart of Darkness is probably best to use after an Inferno, regardless of the strength. So once they start coming down, it's probably the best time to activate Heart of Darkness. And believe it or not, you can definitely cancel your medium into either the Dark Thunder or the Inferno. So basically, if you want to turn your whiffs or blocks into something else, you definitely want to start learning the you definitely want to start learning them right now. And like I said before, you definitely want to use lights for the most part to stop dashing. Your light punch is your best anti-air during jump attacks against other opponents. And you definitely want to use your mediums as your go-to jump attacks when you enter into combat. Now, technically, the medium kick's more reliable since you can chain into another normal, namely your light or medium punches. This is how you do his air combo, if I can get it right. So basically, it's light punch, light kick, medium punch, medium kick. You can also go for alternates like this, which is light punch, medium punch, and medium kick. And then you can go with light punch, light kick, and medium kick for your spike. Technically, you want to end your combos pretty much in that manner. Now, you can use your air throws during combos. But unfortunately, I can't seem to get Blackheart to cooperate getting me air throwing. But with other characters, you can definitely set up air throws with Blackheart in general. And you can get some pretty good damage. If you're coming down from jumps, you definitely want to use either medium kick or light kick for the most part. Those will help you get some hits on down opponents for the most part. You definitely want to be using your Fierce Punch jumping for the most part as a form of defense or a form of offense. You can definitely set them up for crossovers. So if they try to come after you and they don't lower their guard, you can definitely set them up for this damage. You also want to take full advantage of what I do called combos. So we're going to push this Blackheart all the way over here. And you can definitely set them up for an infinite like this. And you can do that until he gets stunned. And this is also another means to set up an infinite. Now, of course, whether or not you get the setup completely depends on how fast you get your movement in time. But yeah, that's definitely the infinite that Blackheart could do, which is launch with medium, then go to either ice or fire inferno, and just keep repeating the process. So once they get right near Blackheart's actual head, you want to hit the medium punch to send him back up, then set up for another inferno. In regards to Infinity Gems, the Reality Gem is Blackheart's special Infinity Gem. Unfortunately, Reality doesn't last very long, but it does turn Blackheart invisible. In fact, he and Iron Man are like the only two characters in the entire game that have one gem that they get exclusively to themselves. All the others share gems. Captain America, Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Psylocke share the Power Gem. Magneto and Juggernaut share the Space Gem. Hulk and Summa Gorath use the Time Gem. And of course, Blackheart uses Reality, while Iron Man uses Soul. Of course, no one gets any specials from the Mind Gem because that's usually locked to Thanos when you fight him in single-player content, for the most part. But anyway, this guide is now complete. I think other better pro players like Maximilian Dude or Justin Wong or others could probably do a way better job of describing everything more better than I can. Just think of it as a guide for beginners or anyone that wants to get into Blackhearts or what they'll be getting themselves into when they play as the character. I will be exporting this to YouTube either tonight or sometime tomorrow. But regardless, if you do enjoy what you see on this channel, feel free to follow me on not only my Twitch channel, but also follow me on my YouTube channel as well, and subscribe to either one of them. That definitely helps the channel grow in one way or the other. Now, I'm not sure if I'll do another fighting game guide, but since I enjoy playing Blackheart most of the time on Marvel superheroes, I feel like I should create a guide to give a general idea. It's mostly to help new players get into the character, and hopefully from their own personal experiences, they'll know how to use it way better than me describing it. Anyway, I'm going to take a small break, rehydrate my throat, and I'm going to pretty much get everything back to where it was with our screen. So Untitled, be right back.